In the year 1860 in the town of Louisiana, in the age where black men, the slaves, were the ones who did all the work. And the white people who were called the masters didn't do any work. Their sole job was to watch slaves do their jobs. There lived a black man called Peter. Peter had a loving family. Peter was in his house with his family when suddenly a couple of men broke into his house. The men wanted to take Peter away from his family to become a slave and work in a plantation. Peter fought with the men at first, but they threatened to kill his wife. So he went with the men without any resistance, but promised his family that one day he will come back to them. In the way to the plantation, Peter saw other slaves that tried to escape, but failed and got their heads severed and hanged to be an example for other escapees. Peter was chained and felt hopeless and didn't know what to do. The slaves worked day and night without rest, getting tortured while working. The guard kicked the slave to the pit. Peter tried to help the other slave, but the master threatened to kill him. While the masters were eating, Peter heard from them that Lincoln freed the slaves. So he decided to take action and escape to where Lincoln's army is. He discussed with the other slaves the plan and waited for the right moment to escape. The moment came. Peter then hit the guards and all the slaves ran. But the masters shot at them and few were killed. Peter's group ran toward the swamp while their masters following them. One of them got caught by the dogs, while the others went through the swamp and decided that each will go on his own to make it harder to track them and meet later. The trackers followed Peter, but he was able to hide in the swamp. As he was getting out of the swamp, he got pulled into it again by an alligator. Peter struggled and tried to go up to catch his breath but wasn't able to. He then pulled his knife and stabbed it, so he was able to kill the gator. Peter then continued his escape, wounded and hungry, but he had no other choice. It was either he escaped or get killed by his pursuers. Meanwhile, Peter's wife Dodienne was told that she will be sold to another master and she will leave alone without her children, so she thought that she had no other choice but to wound herself so she can stay for her children and wait for her husband. Dodienne asked her daughter to meet her after work so that she can help her to stay them. After work they meet up and Dodienne explained exactly what to do to her daughter. Her daughter was afraid, but she knew that she had to do it. Peter rendezvoused with one of his friends, but the pursuers' dogs caught the scents and they each had to hide from the pursuers. Unfortunately, the pursuers noticed Peter's friend over the tree and ordered him to get down. As he refused to get down, they shot him, dropping him to the ground. They tried numerous ways to make him tell them where Peter is, but he refused. Then he got killed right in front of Peter. Continuing his escape, Peter found himself in front of a master's burning house. As Peter didn't drink or eat for days, he ate whatever food he found in the house. But food wasn't the only thing he found. He spotted a little slave boy on the verge of death. As he was trying to save the little boy, he got interrupted by his pursuers. The boy died, but Peter killed the two pursuers and gone on his way. Tired and fatigued from all his running, Peter laid down on the ground to rest, watching the sky, hoping that his family is all right and wishing to meet them. He then heard the cannons from Lincoln's army. He go up and started heading toward the sound source. The leader of the pursuers caught up with him and tried to kill him as the hunter aimed his gun towards Peter's head. The hunter was killed by Lincoln's army and Peter was saved. The army's captain gave Peter some water. After he drank the water, Peter fell unconscious from all the running. He woke up to find himself in the army's camp, surrounded by many injured and ill black men. There were those who lost a leg and some who couldn't even get up, and there was also the masters that were taken into custody by the army. Sadly for Peter, this was not the end. As he was giving his personal information like name, age, and where he was born, Peter asked to be reunited with his family. Shockingly, the answer was it does not this way, and he was given the choice to either work in the federal fields or join the army, to not just be reunited by his family but helping them become free. Peter was approached by two journalists asking him to take his picture, showing the whole world the brutality that happened to him and the other slaves. After that, Peter went to meet the commander of the camp and got asked about the enemy's information. The commander was hesitant to let Peter join the fight, saying, "Is he just a runner?" But he then got convinced by Peter's strong and fierce will to fight for his and his family's freedom. Peter was allowed to join the Negro squad marching to war. Bullets and cannons were raining on them, and one after another were shot down around Peter. The armies from both sides shot at each other, killing as much as they can. Peter was on the ground due to a cannon shot near him, but soon he rose up and tried to help his injured comrades. Peter shot a bullet after bullet hitting his enemies, but the battle was fiercer than he thought. Seeing his fallen brothers all around him, he shouted, "We must get to those cannons." He then ran in the middle of the battlefield trying to kill the enemy's soldiers shooting the cannons. It is now night time, and the battle has ended with the victory of the Negro squad after Peter has succeeded in killing the cannon shooters, ensuring their victory. The squad continued their marching towards Louisiana after winning the battle, capturing all the masters and all their assets of money, houses, and cows without showing them any mercy or sympathy. Captain Lyons, Peter's former master, was captured and executed on the spot. The squad told the slaves that they are finally free. The slaves at first couldn't understand, but they soon realized that they are finally free from their master's brutality. Peter started asking the freed people about his wife and children, but the people didn't know where they were. He searched for them until he found them and hugged his family, telling them, "I promise that I will come back for you again." Peter's iconic image traveled the entire world many times over. It became the rallying cry against slavery.